Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Hanging in there. It's been a rough couple days.
Yeah, I hear that.
That's all good. My father-in-law, he had successful surgery and everything. So yeah, everything has been smooth. My girl happy, so I dodged that bullet,
Yeah.
Everything's everything.
Yeah, no, I was definitely keeping you in my thoughts and prayers. So no, for sure. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. How's this week been for you?
I would say overall good. Just to kind of give you some context. Earlier, like literally like this week, my dad, who I'm not close with, I mean, I'm raising my sister, so he's definitely not doing his job as a father.
Right.
He kind of dropped a bomb on me that he's selling the house that we're living in, which if it was just me, it's fine, but like I'm already raising your kid and I'm 23 myself. So
Right.
it's like I've been dealing with that all week.
That's
So I really, like, just being fully honest, haven't been fully tapped in just because I've been trying to figure out like where we're going to live.
yeah, real
You
life.
know? Yeah, because like it's one thing, like if it's just me, but I have to consider, okay, like if you're selling this house before her school year ends, how am I going to make that work? Like so that's kind of so like I totally could get it when you were like, let's get on the stuff because I'm dealing with that. So one thing I will say, in spite of all of that, I have definitely noticed a solid mentality shift because it did waver. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, but old me definitely would have just been like reckless of like
Yeah.
doing anything, just like just trying to make anything work. But I was like, no, just do what you can. Like it definitely did mess with me, but
Mhm.
after I kind of just started working through like options of like, okay, like if it gets sold here, like how can I make sure that like my family's okay? And after I got through all that, my mind cleared up. I was like, okay, let me just reset. But definitely proud of myself for not being like just completely insane in the charts. But it definitely messed with me, but it also taught me the lesson I probably shouldn't have traded at all, given that news, just to like not be emotional, like and have that like on my brain, like while I was um in the charts. I didn't even like recognize how much like your outside life can impact you if you're not like seeing that. So I was like, oh, I probably should have just said, okay, I need to prioritize like where can I actually give my focus right now,
Right.
So
But that's good that you're able to sit back, reflect, and recognize that though. That's
yeah,
a good gift to have because a lot of people can't do that.
yeah,
The fact that you can reflect and be like, okay, well, I probably should have gone about things this way. You have an order of thinking about things. That's really, really special. And you definitely want to make sure that you utilize that. And when you do sit back, that's when use your journal and use things like that to jot things down, just certain mindsets so that way you can reflect on it in a different sense. Also when you're not dealing with things so hands-on, so like maybe later after the fact, a couple weeks down the line, you come back and you're able to read through those thoughts that you was having. You can say, wow, I was really looking at the market from this inside perspective or this inside box. Now that I'm not in the emotions, I can clearly see.
yeah. No, I mean, like when it really hit me was so I started out the week with actually using the trading journal, like, okay, let's do a page for UJ and AU. And literally like what I had is like pretty much what happened. I was like, all right, so like like I had the bias correct and everything, and like all of that was like really spot on. But then I noticed even when I had, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, this is my plan. Once I got hit with that like living situation crisis of like, dude, like I'm already like raising someone who I'm only 8 years older than. Now you're making me have to fight for this. Like my like indecisiveness and like how to approach just like my life situation. I then saw in my trades if I kept hopping out, hopping to hop, I was like, okay, so like I'm doing the same thing right now. So I'm all right, let me now recognize that and learn that so that way I'm not playing myself in the future.
Yeah, because like, and that's something I was explaining to one of my other mentees that I got right now.
Mhm.
He's from Cali. He a full-time trader. Just got funded, stuff like that. So
Nice. Yeah.
he just transitioning into full-time. So he's dealing with that psychological environment and stuff like that. And I was telling him the same thing, like that it's a dual system, right? So it's like you have to be able to surrender to the process. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like you have to be able to separate the real life stuff and the stuff that's happening on the charts, and you just be looking at things from a bird's eye view, especially when you're on the charts, because he was saying like he starts to get, adrenaline rushes, and like he said, now that he's been trading live with his live account, he's been cutting profits early, instead of letting his profits run and things like that. And it's just like, remember, you have a system. Remember that you have these parameters that you and I can't stress it enough, that you put in place for yourself, like, and you have to be able to trust those things, because then if not, then you're not gonna be able to build up to a certain lot size. You're not gonna see the type of consistency that you want to see and the growth that you want to see within yourself as an individual person, and also as your business, right? And that's one thing that I definitely want to harp on, is the fact that you have to surrender to the process. You have to say, okay, no matter what's going on in my life, okay, this trading stuff that I have going on can get me out of this situation that I'm in, but I have to be in a certain mindset to trade, right? And I realized that, and in order to do that, this is another thing that I told him: you have to dictate the energy around you, and it's hard when you're in an environment that you really can't control. You know what I'm saying? It's hard when everything around you is so chaos for you to find that peace on the charts, right? And that's when you have to go back to the fundamentals of how you are doing things. What are you looking for? What are you waiting for? And that's when I always try to remind myself is, okay, that's when I'm going back to my fundamentals of the chart. What's my market structure? What's the goal for me staying in this move? Is it a weekly move? Is it a daily move, 4 hour move? You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what's the setup, depends on how long I'm sitting in the move, what I need to see, how long I'm gonna be sitting in drawdown before I go into profit. All of those things matter, whether I'm in profit and drawdown, fluctuatingly. You know what I'm saying? But once I'm in that move, like, and it also comes to accepting the risk. A lot of people are jumping in and jumping out because they truly don't accept the risk of the trade, right? They don't accept the risk at all. Like, you have to truly accept the risk, because with this trading game, Q always says, like, you have to, the money always transfers from the impatient to the patient.
Mm.
And he always says the most confident person will win. And both of those statements are true. You know what I mean? Like, it transfers from the impatient to the patient. Like, you have to be able to fluctuate with the market and be unbiased in how you're going about things. Because I was telling one of my homies today who's struggling with trading. He was like, yeah, man, like I'm just, the market's just been crazy right now. I said, why is it so crazy if you're sticking to your system? You know what I'm saying? Like, because no matter what the environment is going on, whether you're consolidation or whatever, if you're truly sticking to your system, that determines if you're being a good trader, not the results. Because you can't control the results. All you can control is that I do this, check. That I manage my risk, check. That I have my stop loss size fluctuations on, check. Okay, that I use a good lot size based off my stop loss, check. Okay, that's it. That's all you can do. And then from that point on, sit on your hands and be patient. Now, if you interrupt that process and you start doing other things like putting your stop loss and profit too early and all of these things, then you can put yourself in a position to either get stopped out or just close out early. You know what I mean? Because now that you're doing unnecessary things, it's almost like you're trying to control. And once you're trying to control, you start chasing, and it leads down other things and greed. And next thing you know, you're trying to scalp, and now you're in this deep ass rabbit hole psychologically, and it's hard for you to come out. And is all you see is a light at the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and like so much of what you just said was literally so true. Like, honestly, had I like really, how you said, like, stuck to the system, because like that's the only thing I can control, I could have been done on one day. Because at one point I had, and actually I can show you, I think. Let me.
Yeah, I got you. All right, go ahead.
Oh, not this. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So like this was earlier, like this like Monday. And I had this like, okay, I saw that like this was my resistance. And I already kind of saw from my back testing with you, with homework, okay, like UJ does not like to do those like full, like bigger retracements how AU does. So
Right.
at that point, mentally, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just wait and see how long you're gonna do this before you just break this, and then I'll deal with you then. And like I knew all of this because I like this same setup is literally what I saw in the homework, and I was like, what the heck? And then we talked about it and went through it. And so I literally had it. I had my TP originally way up here
Mhm.
at the 27, and what it do went way up here, and like literally like it took one bear candle that I think like this one maybe like just like no, not this, sorry. I think it eventually, I think maybe even it was probably just this wick or something. Like it was like, doing like what it normally does of like how it fluctuates, how has to kind of come down, it like all normal, right? But I think that like just for some reason I just panicked so much at like that first sign of it going against me, even though it really wasn't, because it
Yeah,
kept literally going.
can't
And
do that though, because it's like
yeah,
that's part of the game. It's gonna go against you,
I
but
yeah,
are you going off of that set risk? Like, and it's like as long as it's
yeah.
out of that fluctuation zone and it don't come nowhere near that, I accept the risk for this trade. I accept whatever that 30 pips or that 50 pips or
No,
whatever it equates to.
I mean, one thing I will say, like that I was really, really happy with myself was like, even though I've been all over the place mentally and literally only figured out a housing alternative literally yesterday, so like mentally, like I was just not in a good space.
Yeah.
I'm glad that for every single trade, like I always kept the risk at 3%. Like I never did anything wild where I like just like let
All right.
myself, so that was a really good thing. But just considering how with this one, yeah, I took 50 pips, which isn't bad. But if I had kept my original,
That's
uh,
$500.
yeah, TEOTP,
$500 on standard, shorty.
there it is. So I
That's,
was
that's
like,
that's that's all you need. That's
I
it.
mean, I mean, and considering how we even said in my trading plan, how like UJ, we said like 100 or so, something like that,
Yeah,
that
it's like
I would have literally been done, like
good,
done.
good.
So yeah, so this was a lesson that like I'm like, okay, yeah, I took profit, but I kind of killed myself. And honestly, it took me back to the book where the guy was like, he couldn't believe everyone, learned this and
Yeah,
still cut out profits early. I was like, yeah, he's totally right. And then I literally did exactly what he was talking about. I'm like, dang.
because
So
once you really fall in love with the process, and like I said, surrender to the process,
yeah.
you trade based off the move. You don't trade for the money. You don't trade to
Yeah.
win or lose. You don't trade. You trade based off the move, based off of whatever time frame you saw that move happening on a, whether it's the weekly, whether it's the day, and you're just executing on those lower time frames, right?
No, and that's one thing I think mentally that I've really learned from you, which has helped so much with like my mentality going into these charts, is I really had to take myself away from the profit goal to the pip goal, because like that's been such a huge like mental shift of saying, okay, if I grab X number of pips from this pair, I'm good. Like, and that was so like that has definitely helped mentally. But yeah, so I kind of just played myself here and everything, and then tried to keep hopping in, hopping out afterward, and it was just messy afterwards. But yeah, that was that. And then what, AU was AU was like a little bit messier for me because it wasn't as neat this time as it like has typically been in the back test, but it was more on me for like just not trading what I was seeing versus like what I was expecting on this one. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I definitely feel a lot better, like just overall in general with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry, I took away.
No, you good.
Yeah,
So,
but let me see. Can I stop share? Goodness. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much where I'm at. I like mentally it felt like so much better of like I wasn't afraid of the chart, like of the charts anymore, which was like my biggest thing starting this.
yeah.
I think now my biggest thing is just growing in patience as far as what I tell myself I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
And not letting what I see afterward like make me like freak out and jump into trades.
Yeah.
And then like you said, just really focusing on the one thing I can control, which is my own adherence to the system. But mentally I do feel like so much better going forward,
Yeah.
like into trading so far. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this cool. Yeah, that's cool. Um, uh, wait, did you see that? Were you able to see that on MT4?
Yeah, I think you did screen share. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, this just so you can see, like, I don't mean bullshit you like about, you know, I be taking moves and shit too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you thinking, like, oh, this nigga never traded. Uh, yeah, you gotta be able to hold them shits though, man. Like
I
that shit down here, that blue, man, that shit don't mean nothing, yo. Like that could be the beginning of the move. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Yeah. Let me go back to the charts. I missed this shit right here. I was back testing this last weekend. So I could go over this with you how I would have played this move.
okay.
I was sick. I mean, I won't say that I missed it because like it just wasn't my trading week. So this is like more of my trading week and shit. So that's why I'm live execution, stuff like that.
Do you typically find yourself putting in executions or like limits or stops or anything?
I like the live execute. Yeah. I don't
Okay,
find
yeah.
myself doing a lot of like buy stops or sell stops and nothing like that. Not unless like it's a consolidated area, like something like this, for instance, like if it's been consolidated here, say like I was waiting on this area to break, I could have had like a buy stop like right here. So once this shot up, boom, I'm instantly in profit, you know, and just flowing along. Like that's when you waiting for something to break, really. Um, yeah. But with this move, what I was seeing, right? So live scale, um, I was seeing support hit right here, boom, made that lower high point that created my consolidation zone. Um, as you see, respected resistance. This resistance right here, that's where my exhaustion zone came from. So it respected once, twice, three times, right? So I seen once it came down here. This could have been considered like a break on this time frame, but when you look at things on the higher time frame, being like the daily time frame, you see that everything here was just tested pretty much, right? And it could have been kind of tricky because you've seen a lot of buyers exhaustion as well, but you would just have to wait and be patient on this area and understand that this area is a major level of support, right? Even from all the way back here, right? Support, tested, right? And then tested from so forth, right? So it took a lot of sellers to actually break this area. And just realizing that coming from the higher time frames, once you're back on this time frame, you understand once this market made this higher low right here, you will start to see some type of transition come because the market didn't go make a lower low, right? It made a higher low. So you're expecting some type of buyer's transition to come into play, which it did. Came up here, started making higher lows, gave you a point of resistance to respect, and then from that point on, gave you like some type of respected support area down here, kind of like a on the lower time frame, kind of like a triple bottom on the lower time frame. Even if you go to the line chart, you can kind of see like a little double
Mm-hmm.
action right there, right?
Yep.
Then you got the big bullish initiation that happened here. Second one here, that kind of wanted you to break. Kind of wanted you to break that area. So from that point, we could have been on lower time frames in 30. Right. And once we started to see areas come up here and test, and then we see this higher low happen right here as well. Could have waited for some type of break and retest to happen. So once the break happened here, could have waited on that retest on the backside of our kind of trend line that happened here, where once respected, boom, and anywhere in this area would have been an okay entry.
Okay.
Or on this bullish initiation right here, right? Somewhere in this candle, even if you had to go, like I said, N15, just because that area is a little blocky, right? So just if you went to N15, you would have seen that the market did make a higher low point at the same point of resistance that was right here. So it broke earlier. This 1-2 break already happened. And then you would have been waiting on some type of bullish push right here, right? That's where the entry is initially at. And then from that point on, you could have flowed and just had your stop loss underneath that exhaustion zone, right? From that point on, just flowing with your moving average as well, seeing how strong the moving average is pointing up. Okay.
Yep.
So that's just a simple breakdown from how I could have saw things, dealing with that. But other than that, yeah, it's just you just really want to wait and be patient on it, stick to your goals. That's why I tell you, write down at the beginning of the week, write down those trading goals, write down what it is that you want to reach by the end of the week or by the end of the month, even. You know what I'm saying? And just work towards that, build up towards that.
Can you do can we walk through like a similar breakdown like how you did here on AU?
Yeah. Here's my key levels. Let's see. So here, right? Weekly. So even let's say here, right? In this area, you could have had point of support here based off the daily resistance. Support, my fault. Daily support here, right? That was respected. So from coming off of this double bottom, we could have waited for some type of resistance to be breached on this time frame, right? Which happened like right along here, right? And once we got this initiation that happened here, right, we had got this resistance that happened here. That's the break. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
That's the break that happened there. From that point on, could go down to 1 hour. All right, once we understood that that was the break that happened, could have had some type of fib set up. All right, from the push, right, to the pull, 38.2. All right, you seeing that? We got a strong level of support that happened here.
Yep.
Right along 38.2, that gives me confluence right along this area where that stop loss lays flat at, right?
Yep.
So once I start to see areas like this, here, I'm like, okay, buyers are starting to come into the market. All I need to wait on is some type of break of resistance. Like this area. Literally, once I see these type of initiations that happen here, literally entry. Stop loss, probably right at like 50% or right underneath there. 61.8, and then based off what our daily time frame. Yeah, we probably would have been headed for this monthly key level right here.
Yep.
Right? So somewhere up in this level.
Nice.
Yeah, but even breaking it down further, right? So it was on 1 hour. Then we went to 15, especially once we see the break of that counter trend line. 15 right here. We saw that break happen, that retest that happened there.
Oh, that was perfect too on the
Right
smaller
up
time
in
frame.
here. Yeah, right up in here.
Yep, that was perfect.
Even if you waited and got in like right here, still good. Still good every time. And even if you took it, let's say negative 27%, still good. I'd have just flowed along with my moving averages. As long as my moving averages ain't break, I'd have kept flowing.
See, that's something that I need to pay more attention to, of like the direction of my moving average as more confirmation for my like overall trade.
Talking about stuff like this, like once you got that initial push and it was in profit, like okay, then it retraced probably 100%. But once you see the test here and do this, boom, I would have entered again, like right here.
Mm.
And then I just would have flowed along. And then once I got to my monthly, honestly, I probably would have closed out once I see it
Yeah.
just for a second time.
Yeah.
Would have closed out at just because that's my monthly key level. A lot of resistance. I'm expecting stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, at one point, I think it was between both of my trades, like maybe even like Sunday night or early Monday morning, I was up like $100, and I saw an AU, like I thought it was going to go lower, but it was respecting this one support level, and it took me back to one of the biases that you talked about. Because instead of just like saying like okay, it's not breaking what I thought it was going to break, I should have just walked away there and taken the $100.
right.
But then it ended up going back on me. I was like, well, that was kind of my fault because I got too caught up in like what I thought was supposed to happen rather than what was clearly happening right in front of me. But I think like part of that too, like, was I assumed that that price was going to go down to like the 38 when it only went down to the 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that was just like on me of like, I think that like sometimes I get too rigid in what I think like my price has to do.
Yeah, price can do
have to do anything.
It don't have to do nothing, and it can do anything, and that's why you protect yourself.
Yeah.
That way you accept it. Once you accept it, like once you accept how much you're willing to lose, it's like, all right, I know I can lose 300, but I can make whatever.
Yeah.
But I know I'm gonna, if things go bad, I'm only gonna lose 300, and I'll be able to live the trade again.
Right. No, I mean,
it matters, because if I lose 300 and then the next trade I make 600, and then the trade after that I make 250, and then the trade after that I lose 100, and then the trade after that I make 300 again, I still in profit out of all of those trades. I'm still in profit, probably $400. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's what the mindset you want to get into is what's the overall result, not like each individual trade. Like, granted, each individual trade matters, but as far as like result wise, you want to think end result, like the bundle of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it all equate to? Not every single, it's too many details. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, because I think too, because with AU, when I saw that it was kind of forming some resistance, I already knew that I was taking a counter trend trade just to try and like grab like some of that.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that probably, I mean, like I didn't know like, okay, like is it smart or not? Because in my mindset, okay, well, if I expect it to go down to 38.2 and that's so far away, I can try and grab some of those pips and then take the like main trend later. But if that was my mindset, then once I saw price wasn't going all the way down, I should have just taken my win from what I did get, and I would have been up $100. I was like, okay, so like so basically like it was more greed to like go through like all that. Was like I was greedy in it.
Yeah, if you're not following the plan, then it's automatic greed.
Yeah.
You gotta follow the plan. It's automatic greed, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, when you have to surrender to the process. Like that's what it comes down to. Like surrendering to your workflow, your process, your parameters.
Yeah, no, it was certainly greed, but then I figured it out. Like okay, like when did I start thinking, oh, like let me do this? After I thought, oh, wait a minute, do we need a new spot to live at? Like so,
Yeah.
like all that kind of kicked
All
in.
that
I'm like,
matters then start kicking in and
yeah,
like
because
running
in
the trade that to try to have some money to do this and do that. Like
yep,
the charts don't care about none of that.
right,
It don't care. It don't care the timeline that you on, that you got to have it by Friday or whatever the case is. It don't care about none of that.
yep. Because
So
like yeah, because like it was kind of like good though of like I went through like our typical process with like each thing. This time I'm like, nope, just treat it like your homework. So I kind of did that. And literally like one thing that I am glad of, because like I was so unsure like at the very start of our mentorship of like just anything I was thinking and like I would just doubt just because of everything that like I've struggled with. At least knowing that like before I got hit with that like brick wall of like news, like at least beforehand, I like literally just like went through, okay, like top time frame on down,
mhm.
what's it doing right now, and then like each one did what I kind of had like written down or like observed, and then each one I was like, okay, I'm waiting for this to enter, waiting for this to enter. But then like once I got all that outside news, that's when I kind of like diverged from everything I had in the notebook. But then like looking back at it, at least I knew, okay, if I had gone like strictly with what I had here and here, I would have been done for the week and it would have just been, all good news. So at least I know what like I'm definitely getting better of that. Like it wasn't still like paralyzing fear from the start, which feels really good because at least I know that like I can do this now, which like I definitely did not feel anywhere close to that
Yeah.
before we started. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you could definitely do this. You could definitely do it. You just gotta lean into it. Just keep leaning into it. But no, that's real good that you can recognize, these moves and recognize where you need to grow. Because that's the only way that you're gonna be able to do it.
For sure.
Way you gotta be able to put the work in. I told you it was gonna be a lot of chart time, especially the first 2 weeks. A lot of homework and stuff. But now it's like starting to get to the point where, you really control your own destiny. You know what I'm saying?
No, I definitely like it feels good that like I'm actually like excited to trade again, which like I haven't felt that in a minute. So that's definitely been good. Like one thing I get paranoid though is like not being in the charts enough. Like I hop on like, like early in the morning before I go to work. So I'm like, okay, like I'm up at like 4, trying to hop on by like before 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way I don't leave to work till like just before 8. So but then like while at work, I'm like paranoid of like, okay, like
Hey,
what
do
am I
that.
missing? I know, like oh
Because you at work, you on them people time. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You're not on your time. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So you can't do that. And that's just like a newbie kind of thing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? When you first start trading, all of that stuff, and you so excited about it because you're trying to jump out your situation. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But you can't try to jump out. You gotta make the necessary steps it takes to leave that situation and to go into a better one. When you try to jump out, remember I told you miss steps. You know what I'm saying? And when you miss steps, it's gonna take you longer because eventually, guess what? You're gonna have to double back.
Oh,
Eventually,
right.
that person that was taking it step by step, chapter by chapter, they're gonna eventually be ahead of you because you're gonna skip to chapter 6, but then once you get to chapter 7 and you can't read the language, you're gonna have to go back to chapter 2 to get the language. And then by the time you get back to chapter 7, the person that was doing it right, they on chapter 14, they'd have doubled you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like it's just take the necessary steps and surrender, man. Just surrender. Like, bro, like I trade during my trading weeks. I trade during my trading hours. Other than that, I'm really not on the charts like that. I'm living my
Yeah.
life. You know what I'm saying? I got real shit going on. So it's like when it's stuff like that, it's like the
You
charts
let it
will
go.
be there. It's not going nowhere. You're not moves happen every day, so you're not missing no moves. Right? Whether you live trading, demo trading, whatever the case is, like if you didn't execute, you just didn't execute. You just gotta wait till next time. That's all. It's like when you trying to hurry up and you got the easy pass to hurry up and to get on the ride. You know what I'm saying? But if the VIDE already full and it's already mid motion, you can't just try to jump on and you kill yourself. It's the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't try to jump on the roller coaster in the mid. Why is it mid going up or mid dip or whatever? Like, no, like you gotta wait until it comes to a stationary. Boom, it's okay for you to get in, put your seatbelt on, you to check everything out, you know, somebody to double check for you, and now you can ride the ride safe. You know, you good. You know,
I think like what was getting to me was like if I kind of look at the chart and like I see kind of like where it's going, but like what I would need to see to like enter isn't there yet, I get paranoid of, okay, like what if that entry, you know, kind of happens like while I'm not there to like
but
catch it.
you remember how I be telling you, like it usually ain't just, it's never just one entry. And
Right.
that was the entry. I fucking missed it. And no, it's usually an area, right?
Yeah.
Like an area, and the market will come back and retest that area a bunch of times, and you know, all of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, making understanding what time your pairs fire, and that comes from back testing. If you know your pair fires at 8 a.m., then it's like, cool. Let me make sure I'm on the charts at 7, so that way I could be in already with the momentum. So when it fire, I'm not just trying to get in and all this fluctuation. I'm in, and then I'm chilling, and then when the fluctuation take off, I'm already got my seatbelt on. I'm already good. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and honestly, like I do think that given what you said, like probably over checking was probably part of why I exited that UJ trade early, because that was ridiculous. That I, you know, cut myself out of 50 pips when there was really no real reason to. I think I just got like, I don't know, too deep into my head. But
yeah, this shit should be boring, low key.
yeah.
Once you get there and everything clicks, this shit should be low key like boring. Like it's slow. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what you trading for real. Because like you should be able to look at things and already kind of tell where you want to pinpoint certain stuff, or what the market is at the beginning of a trend, is it mid trend, is it at the end of the trend? Like, you know, just keep pointing certain things and making your workflow based off of that.
Yeah.
And the possibilities, right? And not just remembering all the psychological terms that we went over last week, and being able to implement those as well, like that perseverance bias, right? Confirmation bias, like just certain things that you know, you can recognize, so that way when you feel that regret, aversion, and stuff like that, you can stop it, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, overall though, I mean, I can definitely start to like feel the big difference from like where I was at to where I'm feel like I am now. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's already like for me, just like that alone is a win of just knowing that like, yeah, because like even just like identifying those moves and like you know, not feeling like scared enough to like put them in and like all that would have never even happened like 2 weeks ago. I probably would have seen all of this and like wrote down what I did of like, okay, this is bullish, this is this. And I probably just would have put sell out of fear, honestly, just on the opposite of what I felt. You know, so but yeah, no, like I definitely do feel like if I hadn't had all that like crap with my dad of like everything, like it definitely could have been even better. But honestly, it probably worked out of like I learned now, like, okay, I can't let this impact this, and just learning how to identify everything.
Yeah, you definitely can't do that. You gotta just flow, man. You just gotta flow. You know, recognize certain things, make plays based off of those, and just flow. Like, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and you gotta realize whatever happens in real life can't affect the charts, and whatever happens on the charts really can't affect your real life. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to keep that dual system and be able to manage the two, right, simultaneously. Yep. Yeah, but that's really all I got for you for us today. I really just want you to spend time with the charts and get used to demoing, you know, get used to demoing, taking trades and sitting through them, and pay attention to how long you hold your trades. Pay attention to, you know, if you're closing at TP or if you're closing mid trend, and if you're closing based off your higher time frames, or are you closing based off your lower time frames. Like I just want you to pay attention to your trading style and be like that bird eye view for you. So that way, we can, when it's time to go live, or whether you plan to go into challenges, you're well prepared.
Got you.
Okay.
Yep. Well, thank you for this. I'm definitely learning a lot, and I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's no problem at all. It's no problem at all. We'll tap back in. What's today? We'll tap back in Thursday, same time.
Got you.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Keep up the good work. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.